Hey, hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Chastity. Here we talk about beauty, entertainment, celebrities, books, movies, anime, TV shows, and kind of anything else that garners my attention this week. And today we are talking about the season finale of Euphoria because I have a lot of opinions, some good, mostly bad, but I do have some positive things to say. Not too many. Not too many because it's a Sam Livingston script and I view like Sam Livingston as like the white man's like Tyler Perry because he refuses to have a writing team and it shows throughout the entirety of his projects. So the episode starts and we are still at Fez and Ashtay's place. Fez is getting ready to go to Lexi's play, but as we know from episode 7, he never actually makes it, and now we get to fully see why he didn't make it, but I feel like we all kind of knew what was going to happen. But the snitch is there. I do not remember that man's name, so we're just gonna call him the snitch. And he got his phone on the table recording. And you got Ashtray with his spidey senses. He can tell something wrong in the atmosphere. There's a disturbance in the force, so he got a knife up his sleeve because of course he does. And you have the snitch trying to poke and prod them about like what happened to Mouse, being like the cops found his body. What happened to Mouse? What happened to Mouse, Fez? And Fez immediately goes into, what the fuck you talking about? Good, smart man. Faye was really the MVP for this episode because her man very much so was like, you gonna stick beside me, right? And you're gonna stand with me in this snitching shit. And Faye was like, I don't think I will because like, Ashtray and Fez have been so much better to her than her actual boyfriend has ever been. And I'm so happy that, like, she stuck by them and not that nigga. And also, like, these last 2 episodes, Faye has been looking, like, clean. I mean clean, like how Rue has been looking clean, like she's not on drugs. Like, I've never really seen Faye be so coherent before. So I'm gonna assume that maybe, like, Fez has been trying to get her clean because she looks very sober, very of clear mind in these last 2 episodes. But anyways, Faye drops a glass and she goes to pick it up and she just goes like this to Fez, signaling that like, do not talk about Mouse. When she gets back up, Fez completely gets it. He's like, cool, I'm gonna say nothing. And then Faye goes on this master fucking plan to blame everything on Laura, saying that, what are you talking about? You told me that Laura is the one that took out Mouse. What happened? That's not what you told me before. You said it was Laura. Faye's boyfriend is without a doubt an unreliable witness. There's no way, shape, or form they would ever put him on the stands. So they need a confession. They need a way to connect Mouse to Fez and Ashtray because, again, he can't be a witness. He's a drug dealer. His girlfriend killed somebody and then he helped her go on the run. Like, he is not a good witness. He's not going to be their key witness. So it's very much so important for them to get a confession. It's so smart for Faye to be creating this other suspect in Laura because it just makes sense. She is such a smart girl, and I really think this could have gone the long run if Ashtray didn't do what the fuck he did, which was like, I wanted him to do it, I'm not gonna hold you, but I also knew that was a terrible idea. When he stuck that knife dead in that nigga jugular, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. It is a motherfucking wrap. And then when Fez has to like hold his mouth so he's not making those awful gurgling noises so the cops can hear it, and then he's like, nigga, fucking phone, and then this look in Ashtray's face of like, oh shit. So Fez is now like, we're fucked. Like, we're fucked. And there's really nothing we can do. So you're a child, you're a minor, you're not going to do that much time. So you need to run. I'm going to hold the knife. I'm going to get arrested and you're just going to get out of here. And Ashtray says, fuck that noise. And he he doesn't really barricade himself. He locks himself in the bathroom with all of his guns. And like Fez is just like screaming at him to please come out, please come out, please come out. Just pleading with him. Now like the SWAT team breaks down the door, they flashbang in place. We feel like we're in the middle of a Call of Duty match, and they go into the home. You have like Fez that's still by the door pleading to Ashtray, and now pleading to the cops saying he's just a kid, please don't shoot, there's just a kid in there, he's just a kid, he's just a kid, which is like the parallels from like the earlier this season about Ashtray, where like Fez says he's not a kid, he's my business partner. But in situations like this, Ashtray is very much so still a little boy, and he's begging Ashtray to please come out, please come out. He don't gotta do this, he don't gotta do this. And then Ashtray swears to God he is Cleo from Set It Off and just starts shooting through the bathroom door. At one point, he actually does end up hitting Fez in the side, and he is gushing blood. He done packed this boy up. And he's having a whole shootout with the police. There are holes up and down the hallway. At one point, firing stops from Ashtray's side, and so the police slowly make their way towards the bathroom. One of them opens the door, and they see Ashtray laying on the ground, and he's like, oh, he's dead. With no blood, no bullet wounds. I don't understand how you'd assume he was actually dead, but he's like, oh, he down. Ashtray then gets up, shoots him dead in his shoulder. And then Ash is then shot in the head by one of the police officers. And like, I fully understand why Ashtray did what he did. That still doesn't make me feel good. So let's go back to Lex and her play. And honestly, originally I was very nervous about this play because I was afraid that she was just going to air out her sister and her friend's business. And she kind of did, but I feel like for the right reasons. I feel like she wasn't doing it to necessarily be messy, minus the whole like gym scene insinuating that Nate is an undercover brother. But anyways, that's different. You know, sometimes a little homophobia is necessary. Listen, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But I feel like the purpose of the play, like she said, but this is a play about friendship, I think she's fully aware of how far they've distanced themselves from the friendships they used to have and how good they were to each other. And she wanted to remind them of everything they had and everything they could be losing if they continued down this path. With Cassie and Maddie, how much they were there for each other and how much they themselves are like sisters, and to throw that all away for some dude is crazy. And for Rue, I think it was very important for her trauma to be seen through the eyes of someone else, someone that was right there with her the entire time, to kind of hold the mirror up to her, to show her that I love you and I care for you, and I don't think you are this horrible and bad person. I just think you're broken. And I think she really needed that. And I feel like this play was very cathartic for everyone involved. Even though Cassie refused to understand that and decided to come barreling down the fucking auditorium like she's a big bad wolf, ruining the whole fucking play, trying to fight her sister again. It's so interesting to me how ready and willing Cassie was to fight her sister, someone that can't fight nor wants to fight. And she got all this bravado, she got all this rah-rah shit. She yelling at the audience, talking about, I'll be the villain, I'll be the villain. And when she got pressed by a real one, Maddie, she folded like a goddamn lawn chair. Because she's talking about the fact that, like, I'm so sorry, unlike you, I lived a life. It must be so hard for you. She brought up women in Afghanistan getting their heads chopped off. Shout out to whoever in the audience, like, that's racist. Listen, something not right with Cassie. Because Cassie, swear to God, her life is the hardest thing to ever exist. But also seems to not understand that just because there are people that have a harder life than you does not mean you're not allowed to complain and be sad. Like, there can be two troops. There can be other women in other countries definitely suffering. But you can also have a hard life. Like, I feel like people act like you can't, these two things can exist in the same plane of existence, but they do. Like, stop being weird. And like, Cassie doing all of this for Nate. He broke up with you. Move on. Just, this whole season was not good for Cassie. She looked bad. And she's, again, copping the police saying, they weren't dating. They weren't dating. If it really was not that big a deal, you would have told her. But you didn't. And you kept it a secret for a fucking reason. And her and Maddie are yelling, you know, back and forth from the audience on the stage. And then Maddie gets up and she books it. And I'm like, yes! Because listen, Cassie has never got her ass beat. And you can tell from the way she behaves. So this was needed. And like, Maddie throws off her shoes and she slaps the shit out of her. Now, this whole scene, I wish was longer. I really needed Cassie to get her ass beat. But you know what? When we saw her in the girls' bathroom, she looked a fucking mess. Because Maddie slammed her hand so well, and I was like, yes, thank you. This is what I need. Now, when they get into the bathroom scene, this is where Cassie tells everyone that like Nate broke up with her, and Maddie just kind of looks at her and says,
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
because this is, oh, and that was so delicious, because Maddie is now officially free from the clutches of Nate Jacobs. Nate has now sunk his claws into Cassie, and this is gonna be her life until she can finally get away. And I love that for Maddie, that she's officially done and free from him. I don't think that there will ever be reconciliation between Cassie and Maddie, nor do I think we need it. I think they've outgrown this friendship. I think it's time. They're seniors, right? Because they're juniors or seniors. They're definitely older than Rue and Lexi, so they're graduating soon. I think they've outgrown this friendship and they should go their separate ways. This is not a good friendship. A good friend does not do what Cassie did to Maddie. Moving on to the next scene, we have Rue and Elliot. Now, I'm not gonna hold you. My first viewing of this episode, I did completely skip this scene. I'm sorry, I really wasn't trying to hear whatever the fuck Elliot was talking about. But on my second watch, I did watch it. And Rue tells Elliot that she forgives him for snitching on her and that he probably accidentally saved her life by doing that because she was, again, down an extremely, extremely destructive path. Now, I feel like during this scene, it would have been a good time for Elliot to admit that he and Jules slept together. But of course, that's not brought up because why would you do that? That would be what a good person would do. Instead, he puts on a tiny desk concert. And like, listen, the song is by no means a bad song. Dominic is a beautiful singer, but it was too fucking long. This is not Glee. I don't need a full performance. I think a minute would have been fine. But he goes on and sings this entire song. And it just feels like a, I don't know, like in the episode, it just feels super weird and out of place because, again, he sings for a very, very, very long time. And it's just, he's going and he's going and he's going. And he finally stops. And then he's like, yeah, but it's not finished yet. And I'm like, sir, the song is done. What more do you need? But again, it was a really nice song. I just didn't need 3 minutes of it. Especially when, again, there's so much stuff left unanswered. But we get a 3-minute song. Okay. So Nate's dad, Cal, has been living in like this storage container place thingy. I'm not gonna hold you. Both my watches of this episode, I skipped through Nate and Cal's scene. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I know Nate goes there with a gun and a flash drive, and he has this big talk about, you know, how his dad's actions affected him. Cool. Cal apologizes, but I'm like, apologies are not gonna fix the trauma and the monster you've created. And Nate's like, I want revenge. And I know for a fact, I watched the episode, relax Chastity. Nate actually ends up calling the police on his dad and exposing him for being the predator that he is. It has also come to my attention that there's a section of you who don't believe that Cal Jacobs is a predator. What do you call someone who records people they're having sex with without their permission? A predator. What do you call someone that has sex with minors? Now, I know you're gonna try to cop and plea and be like, Jules told him that she was 22. Jules literally pulled up in a holographic skirt on a bike with a little backpack. And when he asked her how old she was, she stuttered and stammered her way into what would she believe a believable age, which was 22. If you are going to be having, especially on Grindr, you should know that there are a lot of minors on apps like Grindr, because unfortunately, depending on where you grow up as a queer person, you might be the only queer person you know, and unfortunately that can sometimes lead to you being in chat rooms or on dating apps being sexually exploited by adults. That's a thing that very much so happens. So if you don't want to be an adult that fucks a minor when you're dealing with these types of apps, not just asking for an age, but like an ID. It's so simple, it's so easy. He chose not to. As well as Nate said that Cal specifically went after the people he went after because he knew no one would ever believe them. That they were people that no one cared about. Sex workers and trans people. Right? Like, what show are we watching? It really does feel like we are not watching the same show sometimes. The type of takes that some of y'all have, it's like, did you watch the episodes or were you just here for aesthetic shots and vibes? I really love the talk that Rue and Lexi had. I've always loved Rue's and Lexi's friendship, and it really hurt me that they were no longer as close as they used to be, because I really do believe Lexi is good for Rue. I think she's a great person to have in Rue's corner, and I hated the fact that they were no longer close anymore. But the conversation they had was overdue. They really needed to sit down and talk things out, and I'm so happy that at the end of all of this, they can be friends again. And I really feel like that was the point of Lexi's play, was to mend the friendships that were broken, to show everyone involved that they've had so many good times together that it's not worth throwing away. And I'm so happy that Rue was not upset or offended about, you know, the topics about her in the play, and that it gave her a fresh perspective on herself. And I just love them together. Their friendship means so much to me because I think they need each other in different ways. And this is just, I don't know, it made me feel good, made me feel happy. At the end of the play, Jules came up to Rue and told her how much she loved her, and Rue just kind of kissed her on the forehead and walked away. Because like, I don't hate Jules. I really don't. I don't like her very much, but she's by far not my least favorite character. Like, not even like top 5 least favorite characters. Because as long as Cal and Nate Jacobs are still breathing, she will never be the worst character. But unfortunately, like me personally, I don't take cheating lightly. I am literally my father's daughter. My father does not play that cheating shit, and neither do fucking I. So I have no respect for her for that, because like she didn't even feel bad. That's the thing. There's no remorse in the fact that she did what she did with Elliot. Because I'll never forget. They was all hanging out together. Rue walks away. She makes out with Elliot, and then Rue comes back. She don't seem guilty at all. There's something nasty about that. And there was just something really that put me off, the fact that like she just watched some of Rue's worst moment, and the first thing she wants to tell her is that she loves her. Like, babes, Rue is just processing seeing all of this in front of her. Do you really think that in this moment she needs to hear that you love her? No, she really don't. In my opinion, you could disagree, but I don't think that was the moment to bring up the fact that you love her. To me, that felt very selfish. Like, this is not about you right now. And I'm so happy that Rue and Jules don't get back together. And because we get like this whole like after school special monologue where like Rue tells us that she stayed sober for the rest of the school year and that her and Jules didn't get back together. And I really feel like that is the best for Rue because like I've said before, Rue is a drug addict. And when you actually take like AA and stuff like that seriously, they tell you to not date. That like maybe for like a few years until you've been clean for a certain amount of time, like you should not date because what ends up happening is your sobriety is attached to those people. So I think it's very important that Rue just works on herself and works on being sober. And I'm happy she's doing that. I think her and Jules could eventually be really good friends, but they are not good for each other. They're extremely toxic to each other. I think toxicity goes both ways. But I'm really happy that at the end of the day, Rue chose herself and not a relationship, and hopefully she does stay clean. We can already tell we're gonna get like a major like time skip, especially with like Euphoria not coming back for 2 years. This didn't really feel like a finale to me. It does not feel satisfying at all, especially with like Rue just going like having this voiceover about how like she was clean for the rest of the school year. Okay, but like what happened to everybody else? Like what happened with Maddie and Cassie? What happened to Fez? Like there's no mention of that. Laura, the lady who gave her 10K worth of drugs, that storyline has still not been closed up. And it does not make sense to me that she told her, I get my money back. And she just gets to finish the school year and Laura don't ever run up on her. That would make no sense to me. Some of y'all's theories that like Rue was there for more than one night, but like Sam himself has said like no, it was just for one night, and you can tell because her mother and Gia were wearing the same clothes the next day. But it's like she owes this drug dealer lady so much money, and Rue is just living life like everything's fine. What the fuck is that? Like, doesn't make any sense. And then like the fact that like Kat had absolutely no storyline because Sam Livingston is a petty ass bitch is so annoying. And I feel like he does not understand writing Barbie's character out the show. It basically is like it hurts him and his show more than it hurts Barbie. Because there's a whole character that is just there but not part of the show. Like, this hurts you more than it hurts her because now we have more shit to drag you about. Because what was Kat's storyline besides saying she hates the boyfriend loves her so much? We didn't get anything with her. Nothing at all. And I know you tried really hard to make Kat a bad person, but all that did was make us dislike you even more. Like this looks so bad for you. For you so much more than looks bad for Barbie, because it's like you were willing to ruin your show behind a disagreement because someone said, I don't think my character would do this. What the actual fuck is wrong with you, Sam? There is something not okay with you. Moving on past that, these last 4 episodes have been like some of the best of Euphoria simply because the little to no nudity. This show does not actually need nudity, and what we've seen for 4 episodes in a row, that the show moves exactly the same way with less flaccid dicks. So let's keep this going to season 3. Hopefully in this 2-year break, Sam Livingston can take some writing classes, possibly maybe get a writing team. Stop being the only person in the fucking room, Sam. Cut it out. You are not as good as you think you are, and every time you write, we see that you're not as good as you think you are. Get you a team, have a board, that you keep all the plot lines in order so we can finish fucking storylines. But yeah, that's it for me. What are your guys' thoughts and opinions of season 2 of Euphoria? Who are your favorite characters? Who are your least favorite characters? What were your favorite episodes and scenes? What episodes and scenes were fucking terrible? And there were plenty. Are you also upset that Sam wrote out Kat's character and just turned her into a side character instead of a main like she used to be? But yeah, that's it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.